Three, two, one. Rick Saratella here, back for All Access Football with my next guest here. He is CEO, Executive Director, and owner of the Tropical Bowl, the Trillion Tropical Bowl, I should say. We've got to make sure we show the sponsors some love.
Yep.
And also a one-time NFL agent, an attorney, an entrepreneur. He is Michael Quartey. He joins me right here in our home state of New Jersey. Buckle up. What's
state,
going
man.
on, Mike?
Jersey strong. Thank you for having me, Rick.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, man. And, we're going to be out in Florida next month for the 10th annual Tropical Bowl, January 19th, 2025. Make sure you go to the website for all the information, viewing details. We hope to see you down there. But as someone who's been directly involved with the All-Star Game circuit, Mike, I know how difficult it is to have a independent, self-sustained All-Star Game. Talk about just the ability to sustain over a decade now, your 10th year doing this thing. I know there's been a lot of trials and tribulations.
A lot of uphill.
And for every success, there's a million failures when it comes to a successful entrepreneur. So talk to me about the challenges, where you're at now, and some of the bumpy roads you've endured throughout this time.
Thanks for having me, Rick. You're a veteran of this space and the football world. And, business is tough in general, and most businesses don't make it. But obviously, in an all-star business, it's probably even a higher rate. We've been blessed to just have the support of the football community from the beginning, and gaining a lot of folks' trust, and NFL agents and scouts and colleges and guys like you have supported us and continue to just try to be genuine and help these players. And I think that was just our mission from the beginning. I'm a former NFL agent, so a lot of guys that could play but just didn't get the opportunity are able to just it's been uphill. There's no way around that, but we've been moving up, and we're definitely been growing, and we definitely just try to do as much as we can to help the biggest players in the land and the smallest players in the land, and find that needle in the haystack. And we wouldn't be still around if we weren't continually being able to be successful at finding those players that maybe nobody knows about or nobody knows they should know about. And so we've had that success, and we're just thankful for the support of everybody.
Yeah, and the one thing that you said there that stands out to me is having the trust of the football community, because that is earned. It's not given, and it comes with time. And I know, any new endeavor, any new All-Star game you talk about, I mean, we can count. I don't even have enough. I need a third hand to count how many games have come and gone in the last decade, right? But you talk about that trust, and there's always skepticism at first when there's a new event, and it's now taken, when I mentioned the Tropical Bowl, it's a pretty well-known entity now, and that took a decade, and I'm sure you've kind of witnessed that and felt that. But what's kind of been, if you had to say, a learning moment or a challenge that you can share with us, if you may?
Well, it's interesting because that's the 10th year of our Tropical Bowl, and that's our kind of FBS level, elite level game. But we've actually been doing it 15 years at the smaller school level with our FCS National Bowl, and that is where we really cut our teeth on the process, and we're able to get better at it and continually improve and all those things. So I think the question you had is that what was our biggest
hurdle
or challenge is probably not necessarily gaining the trust of the football community, because that's part of it, but also getting the football community to change a little bit in how they see the All-Star game space and the outlook of what the future of football is. Obviously, TV sponsorship, it's not the same format as it was when there was only six stations. So these kids and these players and fans' eyes are everywhere, and we were the first to do a streaming deal with Flow Football, and we had that format, and just being forward looking to say, hey, we have to change, and we all have to change. If not, some of these opportunities wouldn't be there. And so, really convincing the community, and the community having our trust enough to say, hey, we're going to ride with you, and it's going to take a village to help every individual kid, and work with us to get these kids this opportunity, because in the end, that's what it's all about, and we're all successful because of that.
And when it comes from someone like yourself, you've been in the shoes of trying to get these young men into opportunities. I know at one point you were an agent early on in your career.
Yep.
Did that inspire you to get into the All-Star game space, or how did that coincide, or what lesson did you take from that experience and carry it over?
Well, that's a really good question because when I came out of college, went to F&M Small College in Pennsylvania in 2000. I went to an All Star game, and it wasn't an experience that I would have necessarily. We had a great experience, but it wasn't a scouting experience. Some of the things that were promised just didn't come to fruition. So when I became an agent, almost 15 years later, um, NFL agent, excuse me, about 10 years later, um, you know, I had so many kids that I could help, and there was nowhere for me, any outlet at that time for them to be helped, especially at that level. And All Star games came and went. So I think it was that process of, being a player, but also being an NFL agent. And I know a lot of people in the community don't realize that I'm an attorney and was an NFL agent for a number of years. And knowing that I know what the players need, I know what the agents need, and at some point I had to do something to fill that gap that was in the market for what we all needed help in that sense. So I understand agents' perspective, and agents sometimes could be a little bit narrow in their thinking on how they can represent a player. But if I could serve the greater community, we're all going to win.
Well, at the end of the day, players need opportunities to perform or work out in front of NFL scouts, and that's the opportunity that you're providing. I've seen it firsthand. Just about every NFL team is represented.
Yep.
You see just about almost every CFL general manager is represented.
Yep.
A good portion, I don't have the numbers in front of me, a good portion of the players from last year were on NFL and CFL rosters and practice squads, and just unbelievable. You mentioned the FCS Bowl, that defensive tackle from Texas A&M Commerce.
That kid was special.
I mean, and that's what your platform enables, a player that might have been, I never heard of him until your event. And then you leave there, he's got like probably 24 sacks on the week.
On the week.
Practice
on the week. You had to probably cut him off.
What was that young man's name again? He was
Levi Drake Rodriguez.
Yeah,
and, New York Times, The Athletic wrote him up as the prospect X of the draft. And, that's why we have All-Star games. That's why we have the college football playoffs, right? We have to see, you got to let them play. That's why we have the games on Sunday. Let them play. Let's see who can play. And I love the Tropical Bowl because it's one of those opportunities for guys that are on the cusp to earn their way in, and it's true scouting at its finest.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I can't wait to get down there again. The game will be January 19th. It'll be streamed. You can go to Tropical. What's the website?
Tropicalbowl.com.
I have a bookmark. I don't know. It's just
automatic. Tropicalbowl.com. Already on it. I love it, though. We appreciate that. Tropicalbowl.com/TV. You can stream it or come down. It's 11 a.m. January 19th, kickoff at Daytona Stadium, and we'll be in Orlando that whole week. And come buy a ticket, come check it out. If not, stream it and just support these young men and all the folks we have involved.
No, we definitely will. And you talk about it's a week-long event, but I know that it's a year-long process when you run an event like this. And I know that you're also a family man, and you mentioned having other businesses, such as being a lawyer. So how do you find the balance to juggle all of these responsibilities?
For a long time, the balance was a little easier. Now it's got a little crazy. So I'm definitely, trying to just prioritize and set some rules and boundaries on how our process is of getting players to the game, inviting players, and the like. And, we try to help as many guys as we can, try to help as many, have some great relationships and the like. But really just, prioritizing always family first. And, but, this time of year, sometimes everything's priority. So just trying to find that balance. And I think, law school taught me a couple things, but not ready for this.
Yeah, right.
But we just appreciate it, man, and everybody's respectful, and we just say, hey, listen, we can't take hundreds of calls every day, especially if we can't take a player, and guys obviously want to stand on their table for their guys, but just figuring it out and trying to create a process and trying to get more help.
Yeah, well, being an attorney at least saves you that legal counsel bill, right?
Yeah,
so that's one positive.
Big time.
I'm curious to know, Mike, in this business, you know, not everybody's a lawyer,
Right.
and that background does, I do believe, give you a strong foundation to go into business on your own. But I believe that at some point, especially early on in your career, everybody needs a mentor.
Right.
So, did
Right.
you have somebody that influenced you in that way? And if so, who was
Yeah.
that?
I mean, I've had some, I'm going to start with my coaches. I've had some great coaches along the way from, little league on up through high school to college to just show me a way and show me a path. And the biggest guy for this business, former special teams coach of the year, Mike Stock, with long time with the Green Bay Packers, coach for a number of NFL teams, coach at Notre Dame, we're just been around the block, kind of, put his arm around us and mentored me and helped me big time. And have some great folks like Jerry Hardaway, former NFL Scout of the Year. Ken Mall has been instrumental and big help in our organization and helping us rise. And we keep learning. I mean, guys like we pay attention, and we you know absorb as much information as we can as a sponge. And the football community is blessed to have guys like you, because there was times where all this information might not have been accessible, no matter who you are, an NFL agent and the like. So we've just been appreciative of whatever we can do to learn and get better. And I think if you do that and you kind of have that football mentality to get better every day, you might start one place, but you might end another place. So
Very true.
yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, you never know where this journey is going to take
I
you,
never
but
know.
it sounds like you're kind of like me. You try to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you and do things well that maybe you don't have the strengths in those areas necessarily. At least,
Definitely.
that's always been a good business approach for me.
Okay.
Last one for you. I told you I wasn't going to put you on the spot or hit you with any surprise questions,
yeah.
but I do have one. It's a little non-football
Okay,
related because you
cool.
said, listen, the lawyer background didn't prepare you for the game of life.
No.
But you are a father, and that to me is not only the most difficult job, but the most rewarding job.
Yep.
For any new fathers, aspiring fathers out there, we're coming up on the New Year's. What's a piece of advice that you can pass forward to just fatherhood?
Well, I mean, I think you hit it on the head. It's a huge responsibility and it's very important. But the advice that I was given on top of that was, it's not only the toughest job, but it's the most important job you have. So for any aspiring fathers, we've had players that are might be fathers or are expecting, and they're playing football 90 hours 90 hours a week, and doing that is to just keep the faith and be strong and always remember who's looking up to you. And I think as just fathers or as leaders or as men or whoever you are in doing this, that once you put that jersey on or you put that mic to your chest, or what you're doing is know that there's people looking for you for that leadership, and you can't ever give up.
And so many great lessons from this game of football that we've
Yeah.
learned that we can pass on to our children. And Mike, this has been a great
Appreciate
conversation.
you.
I've learned something here. We've talked about the Tropical Bowl, the Trillion Tropical Bowl, the FCS Scout Bowl. I know you also do some free agent showcases,
Free
U.S.
agent,
against
yeah,
Mexico,
Team
and
America USA versus Mexico, Canada.
you were out at
NIFA,
SoFi Stadium
we were
up
at
in
SoFi,
Toronto.
Toronto. We've been to Colombia, Costa Rica. So we actually just love the sport, love helping people, and honestly, they help us and make us know why we keep doing it. And we do football year round. We don't stop, Rick.
That's right. He's internationally known. He is former agent, current lawyer, CEO, executive director, and founder of the 10th annual Trillion Tropical Bowl. Make sure you tune in. January 19th, we'll be down there with on-location coverage. We'll have scouting reports on allaccessfootball.com. For Rick Saratella and our special guest today, Michael Quartey. Mike, thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate
Appreciate
you.
it.
Always
All
a
right.
pleasure.
Tune in, everybody. Keep it locked.